I think I felted 20 pairs or something this week in just a couple of days, so the washing machine didn't love that. All of this is just made with what I have because I'm really trying to not get any more yarn this year. And it is a million times easier to crochet a teddy than it is to knit one. Just feel very confident, and the scary part about that is that I'm afraid I'm too confident and then that will bite me in the nails and I'll have to scramble at the end. Hi! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lene and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting, current projects, finished projects, planned projects, just anything that pops into my mind while we sit here and chat. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this week. I am really excited to share everything I've been working on. I feel like this is the first week in a while where I've gotten to kind of do everything I wanted to. I have done a wide variety of projects, of crafts. I've been able to plan ahead just all of the different parts of knitting that I love, both the planning and the casting on and thin and thick needles. Just I've been able to do a little bit of everything for the first time in so long, so I'm really excited to share my projects with you. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm wearing. And today I'm wearing one of my oldest New Year sweaters, so from the last period when I started knitting about 5 years ago. This is one of the first pieces that I made. This is my Marseille sweater. It is very basic. It is the white one with the black stripes. Everyone made a Marseille sweater like this, and I was on the fence for quite a while about the Marseille sweater, if I liked it or not, but the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. That's been the case with multiple sweaters from me. It started with me being very skeptical, and then I've gradually fallen in love with it, and now I'm very happy I made the Marseille sweater. I've kind of forgotten about it. The last couple of months, almost the last year, I've been mostly knitting with and wearing more woolly wool, like Nepal or Lima, like the untreated wool with maybe some alpaca blends. I haven't really been working much with merino, and I've kind of been missing it, and this week I put this on just because I felt like it's been too long since I wore it, and wow, I really missed how soft and comfortable and just nice it is to wear a merino sweater, just the oversized plain merino sweater. I've really been missing it, and it's just kind of been out of my head. I haven't been wearing it, haven't been working with it, so I haven't thought about it. But now that I'm wearing this again, I'm really craving to have a bigger merino project again. It's been so long. I have done some for babies, but I haven't made anything in merino for myself for quite some time now, so I really hope I'll be able to do that soon. But this Marseille sweater, I'm pretty sure I made in the size medium. I knit a size medium for most of Petiteknit's patterns, and then I knit this in Drops Merino Extra Fine in the, I think it's the off-white and then the black. This was also the first sweater where I learned to do jogless stripes, so it's probably easiest to show on the sleeve. It's of course not 100% jogless, but I'm quite happy with how jogless these are, especially since on the sleeve there are also decreases. So this was a really fun project. I learned a lot. I learned jogless stripes. I also don't think I'd picked up to do a crew neck before this. I think this maybe was my first drop shoulder sweater I did. I also did German short rows on the sleeve for the first time, so this has had a lot of firsts for me, and it's been very well worn. I love this. When I first made it, I love it now. I sometimes forget about it because it just is such a basic that it sometimes gets forgotten amidst the more exciting sweaters, but it's always amazing to come back to it. So This is my Marseille sweater. I'm pretty sure I actually have yarn that I got at the Sandnes Garn outlet that I thought I might make another one of the Marseille sweaters with, but without the stripes. I think I got the Sandnes Garn merino wool in some sort of blue color, but I don't have any color to do the stripes. But I might do another one of this. I also might try something else. I've also seen the Sonia sweater. I think that's supposed to be worked in more of a woolly wool, but I might try another drop shoulder sweater, but I really want to do another merino wool sweater for myself. I really like them, and I think I only have 2, so it would be nice to add to that collection. But I think that's it for what I'm wearing. I just wanted to give a little bit of attention to one of the oldest sweaters in my closets, and a piece that gets forgotten a bit too often. But with that said, we can move into the projects I've been working on this week, and I don't know where to start, but I think I'm going to start with the slippers just to get that out of the way. I'm going to try to not talk about it for too long, but I have to say I'm finally done with the slippers. I finished knitting the last slipper on Tuesday, in the evening on Tuesday, and the whole day, my mom has the day off on Tuesdays, so she and my husband had spent the whole day weaving in ends and sewing together the bottom of the slippers. They didn't get through them all, so I had to join in after I finished knitting to weave in ends and sew together the last half of the slippers, but it definitely helped and meant that I could felt slippers while I was knitting them and while I was sewing them together in the end, so that was a huge help. I don't think I would have gotten there as quickly as I did without their help, but I did reach my goal. I did finish all of the slippers by the 20th of November, and what a weight that has been off my shoulders. I've been very unmotivated by the slippers. Luckily, the period of being the most unmotivated wasn't at the end, because at the end I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and I knew if I just powered through and did the work, I would be freed from the slippers. So I was quite motivated at the end of the project, but it's definitely been a project that's been hard to motivate myself for. So I'm really excited it's done. It feels so great now to just be able to look at all of my yarn and all of my projects and just decide to knit whatever I want to, instead of thinking about what I should do or feeling bad as I'm knitting on something I want to instead of slippers. So that's just been amazing. I thought I'd show them to you. And I'm calling this project done, because I'm done with the time-consuming part of knitting them, sewing in the ends, and doing the main felting. But I definitely have to go through all of them, because our washing machine has been acting up, especially now that I think I felted 20 pairs or something this week in just a couple of days. So the washing machine didn't love that. So there is quite a big difference between how much some are felted. Some barely look felted at all, and some might be a bit too much felted. So I'm going to go through all of them. The pattern gives measurements that they're going to approximately measure after felting. So I'm going to go through all of them, measure them, see if they're too small, too big, and then I'm probably going to have to felt a couple a bit more, and then I might have to do some stretching with some conditioner for some of them too. Hopefully most of them will be within the range that the size is supposed to be, but I think there will be a bit more work, but felting a couple of them more or stretching a couple of them with conditioner won't be as time consuming. I can do that for an hour or two in the evening and then knit on whatever else with all of the other time I now have. So I'm still really happy with it. Also, because I've been trying to dry them as quickly as possible, I've dried all of them like this, which is really great if you're trying to dry them as quickly as possible, which I have, just so I would be able to measure them now. But I think after I have now measured them and seen that they're all the right size, or done whatever I need to do to get them to the right size, I think I might wet them all again to shape them to look like this, to look more like slippers. I think that will be nice. I also have to put them together, of course, but I think shaping them in more of a right form of slippers will be great when I'm giving them away, so there's less confusion, they're easier to wear, more comfortable to wear. So I'm also going to spend a little bit of time doing that, but as I said, all of that, what I've mentioned now, is way less time consuming than knitting all of these has been, because knitting one pair of slippers took me about 6 hours, and in 6 hours I think I can shape almost all of them. So not really comparable, but they're not 100% done, ready to be given away just yet, but they are pretty much done. So let me get my basket. I don't have all of the slippers in the basket right now because they simply do not fit, but here are all of the slippers I felted this week in the biggest size. And to just show you what I mean with the washing machine acting up a bit there in the end. These are supposed to be the same size. I think these are closest to being right, but these just barely felted. I don't know if you can see, but you can see the stitch definition quite well on this. You still can see the stitch definition a little bit on this, but yeah, some pairs just did not felt. I don't know, because it's not about the color, because some pairs in that same color felted a lot more. So it just came down to how our washing machine was feeling that wash cycle. I don't know. Did a lot of trial and error, but I'll just have to go through and fix the rest by hand. But I'll count how many of the biggest size I felted. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the biggest pair. I can't remember how many pairs I had left to knit the last time we spoke, but I also did a fair bit of knitting this week. But yeah, just super relieved that that's over. I might do another pair of slippers, because through all of this my husband still hasn't gotten a pair of slippers, and he has helped a lot with making these, so I think he deserves one. Also, my son is growing out of his slippers because those felted a bit too much when I made those. So I don't think I'm done with slippers, but I'm done with the deadline slippers. So that's the first batch. And then these are the other slippers that I made, and these are size 40 to 42, and then 38 to 39. And I think I finished a few of these this week too. I'm really happy with all of these, and I'm also really happy. These are not the most exciting colors, because there was quite a bit of really light blues and grays in the last weeks, but I'm really happy with all of the different colors I have been able to knit with. Bright yellows, bright reds, tons of different blues, different greens, pinks, also a lot of different grays, because grey is quite a safe color to gift away if you don't know the person's favorite color. But yeah, I'm really excited about all of the different colors I've been able to work with. I don't think I would have stayed sane if this whole thing was just grey. Getting some green slippers in there in between all of the grey definitely helped keep me sane. But yeah, that is all the slippers for now. That's as done as they are for now, and this is probably the last time I'm going to mention them in the podcast, because I'm tired of knitting them. I'm tired of talking about them. I'm excited to get away from them. I am also really excited to do the last little finishes and give them away. I think they will make really great gifts, so I'm also really excited, but it will be really nice to get a break now. But yeah, that's the slippers. They're finally done. I I'm over the moon about it. It's absolutely amazing, and I think that's why I keep going back to these insane deadlines, because every time I finish one I say, oh, now I'm not going to make myself another deadline for quite some time, and then I end up with another deadline within the week. But I think it must be because of the feeling it gives when you finish the crazy deadline, because that is just unlike anything else. It's such a nice feeling, all of the weight off your shoulders. I really enjoy that, but I hope I'll stay away from deadlines at least until the end of the year, and I hope I'll have way less deadlines for next year. But yeah, those are the slippers. And I think while we're talking about finished projects, we can talk about my other finished projects, which is not knitting, but I'm really excited about it. My son has also been partaking in this slipper project. He's been helping out, and he's like, we're helping Santa make all of the gifts. So after I was done with all of the slippers, he really wanted me to make something for him, just to mark that we're done knitting for others now. And he has been wanting a lion for a really long time. I knit him a lion for his birthday 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago now, but he's not super happy with that lion because it's not realistic enough for him, because it has a lion's face kind of and a mane, but then it has arms and legs instead of 4 legs, and of course it's an animal, it needs 4 legs. So we scrolled through Ravelry together because he is picky and I was not about to spend time knitting or crocheting something he wouldn't be happy with. And then we just scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled until we came across this pattern, which he immediately fell in love with. He was like, yes, that's it, that's the one. And I also really liked the look of it. It looked really fun to do, and I wanted a fun project, and I love making things for my son because he is so thankful. He does play and use everything I make for him so much, so I wasn't that hard to ask. So I started making the lion. He was really excited about it. He put himself to bed early just so he was like, Mom, you need to focus on this, you need to make the lion. I'll do everything myself so you can make the lion. So I started making it. I have not done a lot of crochet before, and the bits of crochet I've done has been mostly clothes, and then of course I made all of the crochet flowers for my wedding. I made the wedding bouquet, but I haven't really crocheted any animals I think before. So there was a bit of trial and error, and also the pattern is in English and I don't know all of the crochet terms in English, but there was a lot of good video tutorials. I got through it, made the ears, made the nose, and then started on the face. And I did. Here is the lion, by the way. It's really cute now. But as I was working on the face, of course it didn't have the mane when I was working on the face. And all of this is just made with what I have, because I'm really trying to not get any more yarn this year. I've gotten enough, I have enough. But it's always so typical that whenever I find out that I want to make a new pattern, I never have the yarn for it in my stash. But I really tried to rack my brain as to how I could do this. The original lion has a much lighter yellow colors, and the whites are white and not beige like it is on this one, and the mane is orange instead of red, but I just decided we're using what we have. I actually used scraps from the slippers to make this. This is all Nepal yarn instead, except from this brown part on the nose. That's Sandnes Garn Smart. And the eyes are something that my mom had. The eyes are supposed to be much bigger and all black, but these are small with like a red ring around. I thought it would be fine because I knew we were doing a red mane, but when I was just making the face and I didn't have the mane yet, it looked absolutely horrible. I hated how it looked because the eyes were just so small and the lion was looking kind of evil and mad. So I really couldn't get myself to do anymore. I'd done most of the back of the head, which was just crocheting with the red, but I did not finish the head because I thought if I have to unravel to get these eyes out, I'm going to stop here before I do anything more. So I waited until my son woke up so he could decide. It is going to be his lion after all, and if I think it looks a bit evil, that doesn't really matter as long as he's happy with it. And the first thing he did when he woke up was cry out for his lion. He really wanted me to have finished the whole thing while he was asleep. Unfortunately, I hadn't done. I hadn't even finished the head, which he wasn't super happy about those news, but he ran downstairs, found the lion head, and immediately started cuddling with it. And I asked him what he thought of the eyes, if he thought it looked evil. I tried to really make sure that he thought it was fine, because it does not look like the original. But he was super happy about it, over the moon, just wanted me to work on it. So I decided, okay, if he's fine with it, I'm going to be fine with it. Finished up the head and did the mane, and I also posted on Instagram about me being unsure if the lion was turning out cute or if it was just nightmare fuel. And everyone said you just have to wait, you need the mane before you can make any decisions, because it really changes everything. And it really does. This mane is crazy because it is bright red, and you're supposed to cut the strands so they're even. And I haven't done any of that because when I finished it, my son just wanted to play with it immediately. And since this already is like the crazy version of this lion, I thought having a bit of crazy hairstyle would just suit him. So I finished the head, finished the mane, and it did help a lot. It did make him a ton cuter, even though it's definitely not the same line as in the pattern. He is a bit of the like wilder brother, but I'm fine with it. My son loves it. And then I started working on the legs and the arms. I had to be really careful because in the pattern it says legs and arms. My son said it's not arms, it needs to all be legs. So I said just legs for all of them, but it's legs and arms. And each time I finished a new piece, he would start cuddling just the stray legs. He was so excited for this lion. And it did take me, I spent the first night doing half the head, and then the second day finishing the head. The mane took absolutely forever. And then I did 2 legs, and then yesterday I finished the arms and finished the body and sewed the head on, and also did a little tail. You're supposed to do the ends of the tail a little bit differently, but I wanted it to match the mane. And that's the lion. He's really happy with it. He's not super happy with how stable it is when it stands. I can get it to sit with all of the legs like touching the ground, which was the most important part, that it like felt like it all had legs, but the head is really heavy compared to the body, so it isn't super stable because of course it is a stuffed animal, it's yarn. I don't know if the fact that I used wool yarn makes it less stable, but he's happy with it. He after I finished this yesterday, it hasn't left his side. I finished this maybe at like 5 p.m. yesterday, and I've had to be really sneaky to bring this with me here because he really hasn't left the lion's side at all since I finished it. And when he's been like 5 meters away from the lion, he's been like, oh no, maybe the lion's sad that we're so far apart from each other. So this has been a huge success, and I got some scrap yarn from the slippers out of the way. I used up all of the yellow. I think I had like this much left after I was done sewing on the head. And it was just a fun project without a deadline, just for fun. We didn't need this at all. So it was kind of the exact opposite of the slippers, which was a great way to end the slipper project. And even though I was really afraid that this was going to be nightmare fuel, I think this might be the best teddy I've ever made, and it definitely won't be my last. I'm really happy with it. I think it's really cute, and it is a million times easier to crochet a teddy than it is to knit one, because you have to do magic loop and all of the awful things to knit one, but this was just pleasurable, so definitely won't be my last time. And my son has already made some other suggestions as to what I can make. So yeah, that is the line. I can't remember the name of this, but I'll put in the description where you can find the pattern. It is really cute. I'm really happy with this. So those are my finished projects, and then I also have a few active projects that I have actually been able to work on, which I'm really happy about. First, we can talk about the Korshavn blanket by Strikkekaffe. This has been on my needles for some time now. This has been like my sanity project amidst the slippers. This is also Drops Nepal. I'm in a big Drops Nepal period now, trying to get it all out of my stash. But this blanket I have been working on for a while, just here and there in between everything, because it's not exactly mindless because of the structure, but it's mindless enough. It doesn't have a deadline. It's just for fun, and you have to be kinda engaged to keep track, so it shuts my brain off in a perfect way. This week I have been able to work on it a little bit more, because after I finished the slippers I just felt such a sense of freedom. I can knit on whatever I want to, and it's almost been hard to decide what I want to knit on, because I feel like I just have all of the options in the world, so how do I choose? So to start, I just worked on this while I tried to figure out what would be next. I think I did maybe 2 skeins on this week, and it is now over halfway done. As I said, I'm not stressing about finishing this at all, just knitting on it here and there, but it is really fun, and I am really excited to get the Drops Nepal out of my stash. So this is probably something that I'm going to continue working on quite a bit. I am still unsure about if I have enough yarn to make this like the correct length, because I'm making the biggest size and I'm not making it in the yarn that's recommended, or a yarn that's like similar to the recommended yarn. Really, mine is way thicker, so it's a bit harder to do the calculations, and I've also made slippers from this yarn. But what's great with this basket weave is that I can just stop doing basket weave and start doing the moss stitch whenever I know that I'm running out of yarn. I know as long as I have 1 skein left before I start doing the moss stitch, I will be good. I'll have enough yarn. So I think the yarn, more than the amount of like basket weave rows I have done, will decide how long this is. But yeah, that is the Korshavn blanket. I love this structure. I really want to make something Korshavn that's not the blanket. This is my second time doing the blanket, and I have not done any of our other Korshavn patterns, but I really hope I'll be able to sometime soon, maybe next year. I think that would be really fun, because it is really fun texture. It looks kind of complicated. I was really scared before my first time, but it looks so much more complicated than it actually is. It's just knits and purls and yarn overs and decreases, and it makes such a wonderful pattern. So I really hope I'll be able to work more with basket weave. But that's where I started. And then I also have another deadline that is a very important deadline, but that I'm not stressing about, because I just feel very confident. And the scary part about that is that I'm afraid I'm too confident, and then that will bite me in the ass and I'll have to scramble at the end. But I'm making a Marius sweater from this book. It's the kids version of the Marius sweater with a round yoke. Round yoke like this. I'm not using this yarn or these colors, so mine will be a bit different, but round yoke, which I love a good round yoke color work sweater. I had started on this a little while ago just to see how quickly I knit up the ribbing and stockinette part, just to gauge how long I could wait until I needed to stress about this. And since I did so well with that test, I really haven't stressed about this, but I did pick it back up again this week, and I was about here, I think, when I picked it back up, and then we went to kids theatre, or it was theatre for kids with my son, so I got to knit quite a bit during that because this is just stockinette, so I could do that while it was dark. And then I also knit a lot on this yesterday while watching a movie. So I've actually now finished the part of the body that is just stockinette. The next part now is to start doing the first border of the Marius color work. I'm really excited about that. I really enjoy doing the Marius color work, so I think I have maybe 10 rows of color work left now until I start the sleeves, and then I do a little bit of color work on the sleeves too, and then joining in the round. So I feel like I'm doing very well, but I also need to be doing really well with this project because the deadline is in less than a week. I need this to be done knitted by Thursday or Friday, which not that far away now, and then I need to like sew everything together, weave in all of the ends, maybe wet block or steam block it before Saturday, because that's when we're taking Christmas photos, and this is the Christmas card sweater. Every year we always have this sweater, so I really need that to be done, but as I said, I'm feeling very confident. My guess is that I will be finishing the color work on the sweater today and maybe start the sleeves. That would be good. And the sleeves are, even though this is starting to be quite a big size, it's 6 years. Kids sleeves just always go by quite quickly, and I think my favorite thing about working bottom up is how easy it is to knit the sleeves, because they don't weigh anything. You don't have to move the whole body of the sweater around while you're knitting the sleeves. It's just really great to work bottom up because of that. And when you're working on the yoke too, you don't have to turn the sweater as much as you have to do when you're knitting sleeves. So I'm really excited to do the arms, kinda. It's a bit harder to do the color work on the sleeves because I do them with DPNs, but it's still really enjoyable and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be good. It's been a year ago now since we had a Marius sweater like this that fit my son, so super excited to get it back into his wardrobe. I have also tried to think about that I am very bad with planning ahead. So I'm knitting this in size 6 years and is 4, and I'm also adding length because the length was what got us with his previous sweater. It was still kind of roomy, not super roomy, but the sleeves were like this short, the body was starting to get short, so I'm trying to add centimeters everywhere so it can last us as long as possible. Yeah, but that is the Marius so far. It's not much to show because I haven't started doing the color work yet, but hopefully by the next podcast, it really has to be done by the next podcast if I'm going to be able to make it. So hopefully you will see it then. It's in all its glory. I really hope it will turn out well. It's been a while since the last time I did color work. It's been at least half a year, but I've done the Marius pattern loads of times before, so I think it will be okay. So that's that. It was really nice to be able to work a little bit on the Korshavn blanket and then a little bit on thin needles. And what I have done this week, because I have struggled so much with my newfound freedom to knit on whatever I want to, is that I've taken the projects that I want to work on the most, and then I've said to myself, okay, now you knit one skein on this, and now you knit to like the next step on the Marius, which was the color work, and then you can knit one skein on something else. And that's been really nice because I have been able to make great progress on the deadline projects, and I've also been able to knit just for fun. And then the last project I have been working up, that I've finally picked back up again, is my huge sitting mat. This is where I've planned for all of my slipper scraps to go. Of course, I did lose some slipper scraps to the lion, but I still have more than enough, I think, to finish this blanket. Here I have, this is kind of how larges is just rolled together. I don't know how much longer I'm going to make it, probably until I'm out of Nepal scraps, but this week I've done the orange here and then the beige here. I have more of the beige, but I'm trying to not do too long sections, and I'm also trying, because for the last couple of colors I've done grey was the last, and then I did white, and then there's more grey, a very light blue, beige, and then white. So it's been quite a while since I've had like a color in this, so I'm really happy I got the red here, and then I wanted something other than a big color, so I did beige. And now I'm thinking I'm maybe going to do green, because I want this to be more colorful than just like beiges and blacks and whites, which there are a lot of those, but luckily with the slippers I did get a lot of colors, so I'm hoping to scatter those in throughout. Now I'm losing stitches, but yeah, it's been really nice to have this back on my needles. I'm getting through my scraps really quickly, and this is the most mindless there is. It's just knitting back and forth, just knit stitches, garter stitch. So this is what I turn to when I don't want to think at all. I just want to like knit to use my hands but focus on something else. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this back on my needles because I'm really excited to finish it. I am still holding up hope that I can finish as many of my whips as possible before the new year, because I really want to go into the new year. I don't think I can go into the new year without whips, but at least with few enough whips that I feel like I'm in control, because now I don't really feel that way. I feel like my whips almost are controlling me. But those are all of my whips. And then of course, since I have had time to just knit on mindless things, I've also had time to plan. I really want to cast on the Siri cardigan now that I have time. It's almost Advent. I really want to cast that on. I was supposed to cast that on a month ago. I started casting it on a month ago, so now it's time. I also really want to knit some more things for my son. My husband is even starting to complain that his knitted wardrobe, that he doesn't have enough to choose between in his knitted wardrobe. I think it's gotten a bit used to having too much to choose between, because I still think my son has about 10 or 15 sweaters and cardigans, given a lot of, he's growing out of a lot of them, so I do want to keep knitting in the bigger sizes for him, but I don't think it's such a big problem that my husband's making it out to be, because he complains at least once a week about the lack of knitted clothes in my son's knitted wardrobe. So that's something I really want to work on. I have a couple of plans that I want to get to, and then the biggest thing is that I have hoped that I was able to finish the slippers in time, so I would be able to knit or crochet some little trinkets for my son's advent calendar. Already the plan is that he gets one piece of fruit each day. That's what we've been doing all of the years he's gotten an advent calendar, and that's been great, but I also want to give him a little trinket, so I've started to plan. I think he's going to get some crocheted flowers, some crocheted Christmas figurines, and then maybe some Christmas tree decorations or room decorations. I'm still in the planning phase, but I have visited my mom and talked about this, so I've gotten a lot of, apparently it is my yarn, because I was quite an avid knitter while I still lived at home, and then I stopped knitting, moved out and got pregnant, and then started knitting again. So I still have a lot of yarn there apparently, and I had a lot of this drops. I don't know what kind of yarn it is, but I had a lot of drops cotton there, and some other cotton yarn I have just accumulated over the years from back when I did more crochet. So I got all of the cotton yarn I apparently had at home, so I can do figurines with it, flowers with it, all of the different things. I already have some cotton yarn to do flowers with here at home. It's in here, but I don't know if you can see, but I have more of like summery colors, I would say. These are more like summery flower colors, so it was really nice to get that cotton yarn too, because it was more Advent and Christmas colors in there. So I'm probably going to get to that too. So that's also going to be a little bit of a deadline to make the Advent calendar, but it's going to be like small little trinkets just to really make the Advent calendar a little bit more exciting, and to really gear up for Christmas. We don't put out a ton of Christmas decorations while it's still Advent, so I think it will be nice to get a little bit of decorations here and there in that waiting period that Advent is supposed to be. So I'm really excited about that, and I also think that quite a few of the days are going to not have trinkets in them, but activities instead, like getting the Christmas tree or doing Christmas baking and all of those things. So hopefully it won't be too overwhelming to do an Advent calendar. I just need to figure out like the exact plans, what kind of flowers am I making, what kind of Christmas figurines. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a big plan, and that's where a lot of my planning and thinking time is going. But yeah, that